All right, so now I'm recording. So we've succeeded in connecting our database, but there is no way to know if the database is actually connected. So we need to run the server, and this is my server. Sorry, can any other person hear me? I want to know if it's from my end. Can any other person hear me? Okay, thank you. So I'll make this bigger. All right, thank you. So the reason why I am using an external terminal is so that I will have space here in my VS Code. But you can use the terminal inside VS Code. It's up for you. So, but I will write npm run dev. I should have a dev script. I did not tamper with that. So this is crashing. And this is cannot find module student. Okay. I need to delete that here. So for now, we don't have a schema, so I need to delete that. Now my server is running and my MongoDB is connected. Now the only thing we did was to get this connection string. Sorry, let me get that link for you. All right. So like I said, the only thing we did was to get the connection string, set up our password, and then pass in the URL into the Mongoose Connect method. With that, we've connected our database to MongoDB. Now we know that it's connected to MongoDB because we are seeing it here. It says MongoDB connected. Now we're saying when it connects, it should run a function that will console log MongoDB connected. So the first part is done. The second part is to create a schema for our database. Now, even though the database is connected, the database does not know the format with which we want to save data. So the data we want to save for every database will be different. Now, sometimes our databases can be the same, but always, most times, they will differ. So you need to specify the format by creating a model. And inside the model, I'm going to do this for a blog because I know I've done for students, but I'll do this for a blog. So blog.js, or maybe blog schema or blog model.js. Yes. So we are doing this for blog. And the first thing I want to do is to bring in Mongoose again, because like I said, Mongoose will give us the format. So here we have Mongoose, and the next thing is to define the format. Const blog schema is equal to new mongoose dot schema. Yes. So somebody was asking before this new keyword. Now this new keyword, we use it anytime we want to create or instantiate a new object. So we want to create a new object. Now that object is the format that we'll use. That is why we're bringing in the keyword new. Most times the new keyword is used when we want to create a new object or classes and so on and so forth. Now I know I didn't want to confuse anybody with big words at then, but we can consider. Now here I will add the object. The object I want to create is my schema. Now every blog will have a title, and the title will be a type of string, not capital. Title will be a type of string, and I can set it to be required true, and then comma. The next thing is every blog we have maybe description. Let's call it description or body. Description or body. Description or body. Body. The body of the blog. So it will be a type. The video link is not displaying on your wall. What is going on? Sorry, let me share another link. And this here should be the link. Really? Yeah. It's not displaying on your wall. Are you serious? Is there anybody else who can copy this link and share with him, please? All right, thank you. So I'll create a body, and I just called it body. You can call yours anything, but string, and the body I'll set it to require true. Required. Do I need to do this? I just keep the keyword required first for now. And what else will be there will be an image. Now currently we don't have this functionality to upload an image, but we should add an image. And the image, you just add a default URL. Here we add a default URL. Now this default keyword means that if this value is not provided, all right, I'll do that. Now the default keyword means if this value is not provided, which is the image, if nothing is provided for this, it should use anything we had add here. Now I can add this URL here to the image, whatever it is, but for now we don't have an image, so I will just leave this empty. And what else can we add to a blog? We can add the author's name. Author will have a type of string, and we can let's put it required. What else? I'll leave that. This for now is enough. So the next thing is to them const blog or blogs, anyone, is equal to a new mongoose model dot model, and inside here we'll pass the name that it should use, blog, and the format is the blog schema. Yeah, so this is our model now. The name of our model is blog, or maybe if you want to add it as blogs, but we can keep it singular, blog, for each one. And then the format it will be using is the blog schema. So I can then export this schema to be used. Module dot export is equal to blocks. Now I am exporting blocks. Now these things here, I just came up with these things. They are not constant. They are not from anywhere. I just came up with that. This name here, blog schema, I also came up with that. Now the only things that are coming from Mongoose is the keyword new and the Mongoose schema, the keyword new and the model. Those are the only two things, but every other thing I just brought in myself. Now I can set this to be maybe a string or a number or a boolean or what other, or date, any of those data type. You can choose that. So now we have a schema, which is the format, and we have the model. Now to explain, my database is crashing. Okay, it's not crashing. So to explain how to connect to a database again, now I'll say the first thing, the idea is to get this connection string. To get this connection string, that is what you want to be able to connect to a MongoDB database. Now, but to get that, you need to log into your account on MongoDB. Now, log into your account, choose a free cluster, make sure it is free, give it any name, and it will bring you here. Now, when it brings you here, there are three things you want to do. The first is to create a user for this database. Now here, I already have a user, and that's why you see one user here. But for you, you will not have any user. So you create a user with a username and password and give them access, whether you want them to be admin or just have read and write to any database. Now this is also admin. That's the first thing. The second thing is to connect to database access. Here, it will ask you to enter any IP address, but I would suggest you allow access from anywhere. If you're not seeing this, you click on add IP address, you will see somewhere here, allow access from anywhere. Now, it is very, very important that you allow access from anywhere. Otherwise, there are some users who will not be able to connect to your backend. Now, they may be able to make requests, but they will not have access to the database. So most times you allow access from anywhere, and allowing access does not mean that your database will get hacked. Now, exposing your login details will actually make your database get hacked, but not allowing access from anywhere. And the final thing to do is to click on database and get the connection string by clicking on connect. So when you click on connect, you want to pick this first one. Here we have Node.js, Go, etc. and so you click here. The first way to connect to a database is using the driver, but we're not doing that. We're using the connection string, which is this. Now, for my own system, this is inserting my username by default, but I don't know if we'll do that for you. So it is inserting my username by default and is asking me to replace this with my password. So it might ask you to actually replace both username and password, or maybe replace only password. But make sure that you are seeing your username and you are seeing your password. That is the only time you can connect to a database. So you copy this maybe by clicking here, or you highlight and copy, then come back to your code. If I come back to my code, then you paste it here. Like I said, make sure you are seeing your username and your password together, but separated with this column. So if that is done, you want to write your codes. The first thing will be to bring in Mongoose, and make sure that you have installed Mongoose, because if you don't install, you cannot connect. Make sure you have installed Mongoose. When you install Mongoose, you bring in Mongoose this way. Const Mongoose is equal to require Mongoose, and then you write the function to connect, mongoose.connect, and pass in the URL. Now here we are supposed to type in that URL, but the URL contains our password. We can't type it here. Rather, we reference to it in the process.env file, and that is why we have it here. Now this second line is not doing anything much, but rather it just tells us when Mongoose has connected to our own database. That is why you see this log out here, MongoDB connected. So it's your choice. You can choose not to add it if you want, but this is the line you use to connect to Mongo. Now, this can actually be a little bit complex. But for me, I'm making it easier. And in one line, this is how you connect to a MongoDB database in one line. Now, going forward, we may choose to break it down, take it complex, however we want, but this, you're good to go. And like I said, this other line is just to console log it for me. Was this a new question, or an old question. We have to get the URL. Now, if you come to MongoDB, this is MongoDB dashboard. If you come here, click on database. Click on database. Sometimes it will ask you, you might not see this. You will see build cluster or something like that. So it means you have not created your cluster. So you must create your cluster before you can see this connect. So if you see build cluster here or any other thing, click on it to build your database, and then you will see this connect. It takes a while to build the database. So you can click on connect. When you click on connect, now here it says connect to your application. And that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to connect to our application. And you click here, you will see the connection string here. So this is where you can get the connection string. So with that being said, I think we've covered how to. The process.env is the .env. The first thing you need to do is to install .env. Now, if you install .env, you bring in .env. Now, you install .env the same way you install Express and Mongoose. So you bring in .env, and then you can configure .env. With that done, you've configured your environmental variables, but you need to create a file. Just go ahead, and I don't know why. Go ahead, click create, go ahead. The only issue I'm seeing here is why is it saying SQL, because MongoDB is a non-SQL. So why is it saying SQL? But go ahead, because the last one says get connection string, so you can get the connection string. Go ahead. I think, does it have to do with the version? I doubt. Sorry about the connection. Sorry, Mr. Prince. And I'm very sure that this video is being recorded. Now, I plan not to waste too much time so that the videos will not be too long. So even if you're not online, you'll be able to watch the videos. So I will not do much so that the video is not too long. So, but like I was explaining, you install .env and you configure .env. That is how to set up your process.env. When you install, you configure, and then you create a file. Make sure that the name of the file you are creating is .env. With that, you've configured your process.env. That is all. So here we have our database model. I don't know why you mean a MongoDB class starts today. Okay, we started yesterday, although we're still we're doing the same thing we did yesterday, almost the same thing, but not the same thing. So now we have our model, we have our database connected. We want to see if we can actually send data, if we can send this data into our database. If we can send this data into our database. Now, we use this first function to handle post request. To handle a post request. And that is to add students. So I'll change this to be add blog. And this will be blog. And this will be edit blog. Now, they are all the same thing. Once it's come to Node.js, they're just following the same format. So I will add a request. I will make a request to add a blog. And in my function, which is this, first I will need to get the details that I want to add from the request.body. And what do I want to get? I want to get the title, which is this. I want to get the body, which is this. I want to get the image. Now, the image is going to be a URL for now. the image URL, and you can copy any dummy URL from the browser and paste it there. I think I should do that. I think I'll do that. So here we are accepting these things from the request. The next thing we want to do is to create a new blog, an object of a new blog. New blog is equal to new instance of our blog. Okay, I don't have it imported, so I will import it here at the top. I want to import the model we created. Blogs is equal to require /model / blog model. So here we are trying to create a new instance of our blog model, passing in these things to it. I'll copy this and paste here. So with this, I've created an object of a new blog. So this is what this line is doing. It's creating a new blog object and is saving it inside here. And then the next thing I want to do is save it on the database with the await keyword. Now, the reason why I am using await, I want to believe you know why we are using the keyword await. Because saving on the database might take a while. So if you don't use await, it may save, it may not save. But when you use await, definitely it is going to wait until it saves that data on the database. So with this, we have saved this request or this information on the database. When we are sending back a response, we want to send back the blog that has been saved. So we say the blog that has been saved will be the details on this new blog. That is why I say blog is there in the values of this new blog, and save that. With this, we have actually created a post request. And I need to test this out on Postman, and I want to believe by now you know what Postman is. And you know why we are using Postman and what Postman is used for. So I will go to a workstation which is uThrive, and in uThrive I have the get request, I have a post request, and I have a dit request. Now, if you don't know how to get this by now, I'll just get them again. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you are signed into Postman with your Google account. You are signed into Postman, and it will bring you here. Look for anywhere you see workspace. If you're not here, then look for where to see workspace and create a new workspace. And if I click here, I can add any type of request. Now, this will be a post request for me, a post request, and the URL will be localhost port 5000. I want to believe my server is running on port 5000. So colon port 5000, and the endpoint is /. I want to get the endpoint now. The endpoint is / add blog. So I'll paste this here, add blog, and if I send this request, I get a response, but it has saved data and everything there is empty. Now it is returning a blog with everything empty. Now the reason why I know that it has saved this data is because I am seeing the underscore ID. MongoDB creates ID automatically for everything that you save on MongoDB. It gives you underscore ID automatically. So, but the details of these things are empty. So I will need to add details by clicking here and going to the request body. And I want to ensure that the request body is going to be raw and the data type is JSON. Okay. So with that, I will get the payload or the data I'm supposed to send. The data I'm supposed to send are all these things. So I'll copy them. Here, I will add an object and paste this. So let me just modify these things. I want to make sure that I'm sending a JSON. And here. So I have a title. The title can be Hello World. Word. The body will be Lorem Ipsum, whatever you want to type, one. And like I said, this information will be coming from the front end. So what you type in here doesn't really matter. You want to make sure that it is actually saving the data and is fetching the data. For the image, I'll copy a dummy URL for an image. What image should I pick? What image? Let's get, or you know what? I just get a URL. I'll copy image link. This is image link. So I'm back here. I'll paste that here. This is that image. And the author, I'll put my name as David Sampson. So with this, I've entered the data that is expected. So it will not return an empty blog anymore. If I send this request, now it is saving data and is returning the data that has been saved. So with this, we have successfully performed a post request. Now to confirm, you click on Browse Collections. And here we see the old database, which was for students. And now we see another database, which is for blogs. So if I click on blog and expand this, I should see that I have two blogs here. So this is the first one, which is empty, and this is the second one with data in it. Now, this here, you can actually edit this thing here directly. You can. So I can click, you can edit this here if you want. Just edit whatever you want and then save. But this is not ideal. You edit it from your application, and I'm also going to demo that how you edit from your backend application. So we've done that. If you have any question, drop your question, or we proceed to the next one. If you don't have a question, drop a thumbs up so that we'll proceed to making a GET request to get every data that is saved on the database. If you have a question, drop your question. If you don't, drop a thumbs up so that we continue. All right, thank you. So we've succeeded in handling a post request. All right, thank you. Thank you. We want to handle a GET request. The image must not be having any default keys. It mustn't. But there is a reason why I use default when I'm adding images, especially user images. You know, when the users create an account, the first thing you would do is take their email and password to create an account for them. At that point, you may not be asking them to upload an image. So they will not be uploading an image that first time. But your website or maybe your application might have a place where users' image will display, just like here now. This user image is supposed to display here. So, but if they don't have user image, this place will be empty. So what you do is you add a default image, like an avatar, something default, so that anytime somebody creates an account, they can log into their account, they will see a default image there, just an avatar, and then they can change it to an image they want. And that is why I use a default image. But you can actually skip this. It's not compulsory to do or use a default image. So here I will change this name from handle user request to handle get blog request. So then I will export it also here. Export it and make sure that I'm importing it here. Remove the other one, which is this, is not needed. Yes. So I want to get all. Exactly. That's why you always say default avatar. Not everybody do it, but I do it a lot. So now we want to get all the images, not images rather, all the blogs that have been saved. So we create a variable, call them blogs. Then they are equal to await. Now we want you to go to our blogs model and find everything. Find everything and no. Is it here? Yes, it's here. Find everything, then return. Whatever you find, return a response dot status. The status, you want to keep it to be 200. The JSON. Now I wanted the structure and add a message. The message will say successful. Now your success message can be just success or successful, anyone. You are in charge. Exactly. After connecting to MongoDB, MongoDB is supposed to save data from you. So you need to instruct MongoDB on the format to use. That is why after connecting to MongoDB, you go straight ahead to create a model. Now this is a simple model. A model can be very complex. It can be so complex, but this is just a simple one. Now you determine how complex it will be. So whatever you want, you just determine that. Now inside an object, you can have an object inside an object. You can have an array inside an array. But here we're just doing strings. We're just doing strings for now. But we're going to get there where we do object inside an object, an array inside of an array, and so on. So find everything and return all the blocks that you find. Return all the blocks. So I'll save this and then make that get request. Get requests to handle blog. Make sure that the name is matching, which is here handle blog. So I'm getting all the blogs. Now, is my server? Why is this still showing? This thing is scaring me. When I see this red, it looks as if it's crashing. So I want to go to Postman here, create another request, a get request, and it should be going to localhost, but not to this endpoint, to blogs, and then send. Now I have all the blogs. Currently there are just 2 blogs here. Now there's something I normally do to tell me how many items that are returned. So what I can do is add another key to the response here. I just add another key here and say the count should be blogs.length. So I want to know the length of the blogs returned. So what I'm just adding is this key for count. The number of items that are returned in this array should be what will be here, the length. I want to know how many items are returned. So if I click on this send, I have the count to be 2. If I go ahead and add another one, which is number 2, and say yes word and send this, this is created. If I come back to get all of them and send, I have the count to be 3. I normally add count so that I know how many items are being returned. So ladies and gentlemen, that is how you make a get request. A get request. Now we've come to another part, which will be to update. What if this title here, I want to change it? I want to change this title, or I want to change this one, or I want to change the entire thing. And that is the update request. Now, update request can be either a put or a patch. A put or a patch. So we can actually update what we have created. And how do we do that? Now, in order to edit, the key thing there is I want to edit only this one. So I need to find something that is unique to only it. Maybe this. Now, for example, this one doesn't have a body. Let's use this one so that we can add the image and add the body to it. Now, I want to edit this one. What is unique to each of these things? What is actually unique to them is their underscore ID. So the ID of this one is different from the ID of this one. The ID of the next one will also be different from all of this. So you need to find them by their ID. Find the one you want to edit by the ID and edit that particular one. So that is how you make an edit request, whether whether a put request or a patch request. You find it by the ID and you edit. So down here, we want to make an edit request, which is this. And this edit request is not doing anything. It just has a dummy response. So I want to add it here, edit blog, and this should be called edit user. Let me rename it from edit user to edit blog. And also make sure to export it. And then here, I can close this one. Here, make sure to import it here. And remove this one that we've deleted. And save. So we have a function to edit. How do we then edit? The first thing I said is to get the ID. And how do you get the ID? You destructure the ID from the request.params. The request.params. We are getting the ID from the request.params. So where is this ID going to be placed? This ID is going to be placed in the params here. So here I will put / and then column put ID. So when you are typing in the URL, you should also be adding the ID to the URL. Yes, this is correct. Now, update has two types, the patch and the put. So the patching is when you are editing part of it. The put request is when you are updating every part of it. So, but you're actually correct. Now, this is get. This is get, and you're correct. So, what next? I'll come here. I'm getting the ID here. And what I want to do is say const edited blog or updated blog, anyone, is equal to await our blogs model dot find by ID. And I don't know why I'm not getting IntelliSense. Something is wrong that I'm not getting IntelliSense. Await. This is not async. I need to make it function and async. And you know this is not an arrow function. Let me convert to an arrow function then. Is equal to async request. Sorry, I like using arrow functions. So maybe I'll get request now. Blogs dot find by ID. I'm not getting IntelliSense. I need that IntelliSense. Find by ID and update. Find it by ID and update. And this is a keyword. Yes, retrieve should be read. Now, when you want to find by ID, there are two things you pass in here. The first thing you pass in is the ID, here. You pass in the ID. Then the next thing you want to pass in is the new data that you want to add. The new data you want to add. And we need to accept a new data from the request.body const request.body. And I think we are accepting the same data that we had here. So I'll bring in this same data here. So like I said, you need the ID to find the particular one you want to update. When you find it, you want to update it with this new information. So we say const edited blog, the one we edited, await find the blogs by ID and update. Now this find by ID is a keyword in MongoDB. You don't have to cram this. Mongoose model is the whole database format. What keyword would I use? I'm looking for the right word to use. The model, the format we are giving to that particular database. Now, this mongoose dot model means that we are picking the model that comes from mongoose. Now, we can do this another way. What we can do is directly, instead of taking the mongoose, we can destructure directly, take the model from mongoose. Take the model from mongoose and take the schema from mongoose without needing to do dot. So we don't have to do dot. Dot means we are taking it from there. So we can do this. We are taking the model and the schema directly from mongoose. But when we add the dot, the reason we added the dot is because we named everything mongoose. Then we are picking the schema from mongoose. We are picking the model from mongoose. But you can pick up this thing directly from mongoose without having to use dot. So there are two ways to do them. We can pick the model directly from mongoose, or you can use mongo dot to get it out from mongoose. I don't know if that answered your question. So I'll save this. That's still the same thing. Check that my server is running. My server is still running. So this is another way. You can pick the model and the schema directly from mongoose, or you can just name it mongoose and use mongoose dot to get it from mongoose. Yes, if anywhere you are using mongoose, you import mongoose there. Here in our file, we are using mongoose to connect. So we must import mongoose here because we are using mongoose in this file. Now, in this second file, we are using mongoose to create a schema. So we must import mongoose. So anywhere you are using mongoose, you must import mongoose there. We are using mongoose here to connect, which is why we are importing mongoose. We are using mongoose here to create this whole model, which is why we are importing mongoose. I'll save that and come back here. So we need to pass in the ID and the data that we want to update. So these are the data we want to update. We pass them in here. So I can remove this and say find by ID. Find by ID. I remove that. So passing the ID, passing the data you want. The next thing you want to pass in is new true. Now I will explain this. This means it is going to be returning the particular one we updated. So if I don't add this keyword, nothing will happen. It will still run. it will still run, but let me show you what is going on. So I make sure that I'm calling this edit blogs, and I'll save that, and I'll copy this URL. This is the endpoint. Now this ID here, it's having this semicolon, this colon, because this part of the ID is not static. It will be changing with the actual ID, and that is why it has this colon. And without this colon, it means what will be there will just be letter I and D. But if you add colon, it means this part will be changes. It is dynamic. It means this part is dynamic. So I can add that. And is that a put request? Yes, this is a put request. So I'll change this to a put request, and the URL is localhost. So remove this blog and paste that. Are you serious? Sorry, I thought I copied this. And paste this. So the ID, how do you get the ID? Now, because you are getting all the data, you can then copy the ID from here. Copy the ID and replace this ID with the actual ID. So here we are making requests to update the blog that has this ID, the one that has this particular ID. So the next thing I want to do is, after we submit the ID, we need to also be sending the data that we want to use to update it with. So what I can do is come here and copy this data to update it with. And that will be here. Make sure you're getting the request body and it is raw and the data type is JSON. So I've dropped this. So this, I will change the title to be updated blog, so that I'll be sure that it is the blog that I updated. So I will send this request. Okay, it's actually updating, but I'm not returning the updated blog here. I'm only returning this response. So I need to change this response to something like successful, and then add comma, and then return. Let's say the blog would then be edited blog. Blog would then be edited blog, and that's all. So if I make this request again, I have successful, and I have, where is the blog title? Updated blog. So I want to demo something for you. Now what I want to demo is that, watch here, what is being returned. Let me add the name here to updated one, and then update it. It still returns the old one. Now the reason is this: it is actually updating, but it is returning the one that was updated, not the new one, but the one that was updated. So if I go ahead now and change this one to 2 and send again, I'm getting a response of 1, whereas I actually entered 2. It is returning the one that was updated. Yes. So it is actually returning the one that was updated. So what I can do is to add another object and say new to be true, to actually return the new one that was actually added. So what I can do now is, if I add 3 here and send, is actually returning the new one that was updated. So this is how we write an update request. Now this is for update request. The last one will be to delete. We can actually write a function to delete something from the database, and in order to delete, you make sure that you are finding it okay. Now you to delete an item, make sure you are also finding it with the ID. because except you want to delete everything on the database, make sure you're finding the particular one you want to delete by the ID. Make sure it is by the ID. So I will write a function to delete. Now, you do not create ID yourself if you are using MongoDB. If you are using MongoDB, MongoDB is going to be creating this underscore ID for every item you save. For every item you save, it will be creating underscore ID for you. So you do not create ID on MongoDB or on your schema. No, it will create it for you. So let's write a function const delete blog. This is a function to delete a blog, and it's going to be an async function that will accept the request and the response object. And here we're going to return a response that will have a response status of 200. Now this is just dummy. And then a JSON message, any random message. Let's say the message will be deleted successfully. I need to make sure that that is a string, but let me finish typing. Yeah, deleted successfully. So I must be exporting this function in order to use it outside of this file. Now I have a function, it's not doing anything, it just sends a response that says it has been deleted. So here I will create an endpoint app.delete. I don't know why I'm not getting IntelliSense. Who did I offend? /delete blog. And if you delete blog, the function I want to run is called what again? What did I name it? Delete blog. I can change the name to, let me just keep it, delete blog. The function is called delete blog. This one. So I'll click on it to auto import and make sure that you are seeing it, that it has been imported here. Otherwise, it will tell you delete blog is not defined. So make sure you are seeing that delete blog is actually imported. So I have it here. Now, what I will do is I need the ID because I don't want to delete random items. I want to delete a particular item. So I must add the ID in the params. The reason why I'm adding this column is to insist that this part is a placeholder. This ID here is a placeholder that will change, so it is dynamic. And that is why you see me adding column here. And I'll save that. I can actually, let's demo delete. I'll add a request here for delete. And I think I've not written anything inside the function. So let's write something inside the function. Now, we know that we need the ID, so we need to destructure the ID from the params. And when you get the ID, the next thing is to create an object of the deleted one. Deleted blog will be equal to await the blogs model. Go to the blogs model, find by ID and delete. Find by ID and delete. Yes, find it by the ID and delete. So we need to just pass in the ID here, and that's all. So with this, we've actually succeeded in writing a delete request, because here it is going to go to the model, find a particular one by the ID and delete it. So I'll save this. And I'm not returning anything because there's no point returning the deleted one. There's no point returning this here because we're actually deleting it. So there's no point returning it. That is why I'm not returning any object here. Yeah, actually the ID is not auto incremental because this is MongoDB. It's different. Whether it's increasing or it's not increasing, I can't really tell because the ID looks, this is an object ID. So it has letters in it, it has numbers in it. So I can't really tell whether it's increasing or it's decreasing, but it's just generating random IDs. But it's in SQL that we say that the ID is auto incremental in SQL. But for Mongoose, MongoDB, it has numbers and letters mixed inside it. So I can't really tell if it's increasing or decreasing. Yeah, the ID is randomized. So the next thing we want to do, where are we? We have a delete function. Make sure we're passing in the ID in the request.params. We get the ID, we pass it in here to find it by ID and delete. And the reason why we're not returning this is because it's actually been deleted. So there's no point returning it. So here you make sure that you have a placeholder for the ID. So I'll come here. Let's get all the items. We've gotten all of them. This is all of them. And I want to be sure we are deleting something. So since there are 3 of them here, we want to mark the one that we will delete. We are deleting, wait. Okay, the author is Samson. This is yes word. This is hello world. And this is updated blog. So I will delete this yes word. I want to delete this yes word. So I will copy the ID for the yes word. I'll copy it and go to my delete request. And sorry, I wouldn't have copied. I would have copied the endpoint first. I need the endpoint first. So I'll pass in the endpoint here. Then before I copy the ID, I'll copy the ID now and come back to the delete request and replace this placeholder with the ID. So if I send this request, it says deleted successfully. Now let's confirm that it's actually deleting by making a get request to see if this is still 3. And I'll send. Now it has reduced to 2. Let's find if we will see that yes. You see, we can't find that one again. What we can do is also delete this second one. I'll copy it and come back to the delete request and change the ID here and send the request. It says deleted successfully. Let me make a get request to get all of them again. And I have only one being returned. So I can equally delete this one if I want. Let me go ahead and delete it. I'm passing the ID here, replace the ID and paste it and send the request. Now it says deleted successfully. To confirm that it's actually deleting, make a get request and you see that there is nothing being returned. Nothing is on the database. And we can actually confirm that by going to the database and refreshing here. If I refresh, you see there's actually nothing in the database. So the database is empty. The result is 0. It's actually empty. So that is a get request, a delete request, and a put request. So how does try catch? Okay, first, Noble. I want to believe if Noble, you mean a database. Please show us how to add post on Postman and it will show on MongoDB. Okay, I think I missed that one first. So how to make a post request? Have you been following us? So how do we make a post request? The first thing is to create the function that we handle the post request. That's the first thing. You create a function that will handle the post request, and that is here. So this is the function to handle the post request. we are accepting data from the front end, maybe Postman, maybe mobile app, it doesn't really matter. We just know that we are accepting data from the front end in the request.body. That data must be in the request body. So here we are creating a new blog object. We are creating a new blog object and we are saving it inside this variable called new blog. Then we await for that new blog to be saved on the database. So this is in 3 steps: accept the data, create a new object, and save the data. When the data has been saved, you want to return a response that will say the data has been saved successfully and the object of the data that you saved. That is what this function is doing. So when you have this function, you want to attach it to an endpoint. Now this is an endpoint to add a blog, and this is this function being attached to that endpoint. So when you call this endpoint with those blog details, then this function will run. Furthermore, we are going to, in our next class, we are going to look at validation to make sure that the user is actually sending all the data that is required. You don't just send any random data, and you must be sending the type of data that is required. We also go further to work on authentication and make sure that the user who is actually sending us this data is actually logged in. You can't send us data if you are not logged in to the app or the website. So this is the endpoint. Now you come to Postman and you create a request here by clicking this plus sign to create a request. So choose the request type, which is post request, because you want to post data. And then here you will see something that looks like this, none. You click on it and make sure you are going to raw. It has to be raw. You select raw and make sure that the data type is JSON, because you are sending the data in form of JSON. Now, if you are sending it in form of JSON, you create an object here where your keys and values are in form of JSON. That is why you see me having quotes and quotes, quotes and quotes, quotes and quotes, because I'm sending them in form of JSON. So that is how to send. Now, if you do that, you can type whatever you want here as your test, welcome, and whatever you also want here, Lorem ipsum anything, and you type in the value of this one. You also type in the value of this one. Make sure you are putting the exact endpoint that you created to handle that request, and you are also pointing to the port on which your server is running. Then you click on send and it will add the data, and that is how we handle a post request on Postman. Now I want to understand that you mean Noble database, which is what I'm going to ask for. Noble database, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the Noble database because I actually have not heard of Noble database, and that is why I want to actually type Noble database. Now I don't know what what you mean by Noble, but MongoDB is a database, and it is a non-relational database. Now, alternatively is SQL, which is a relational database. Now, I use SQL. I also use MongoDB. There are other databases, Postgres, there are so many of them, depending on the database that the company you're working with wants to use. Now, the database is not really the issue. When you understand the procedure of how things should work, then you can actually use any database. it doesn't really matter. So you can pick up any database in a week or two. You've picked up the database and how to use the database. So how do you use try catch? Now, try catch. Do we still have time? Okay, we don't. I would have explained try catch, and try catch we have time. This class is supposed to end by 7 exactly, so we still have time. And let me explain how try catch works in this case. So what is try catch? You use try catch for when you know that there might be possible errors. So you use try catch. For example, const get one data, or maybe get one blog. That is the name of the function. Is equal to an async function that accepts the request and the response, and here. So we have a function that accepts the response and the function. We want to add try catch. Try catch. Here I will add console log the error. So what is try catch doing in this occasion? So try catch simply means I will have a try block and I will have a catch block. This is indirectly, in another word, saying if or else. That is what it actually means. If or else. Try to do everything inside a try block, but if you cannot do it, catch the error and console log the error. So it is in form of if or else. That is my own definition to you to make it very simple to understand. Now, try catch is like saying, try to do everything that I will put inside this try block, but if at any point you can't do a particular one, because there are going to be so many lines here. It might be one line, it might be 2 lines, it might be 3, it might be more than that. Try to do everything I will put here line by line. If you can't do any line, catch the error that stopped you from doing it and console log what the error is. So that is what a try catch is. So, and we're going to use a try catch to actually fetch one data by the ID, to fetch a particular data by the ID. So what I will do is first take the ID from the request.params, because whenever you are dealing with IDs are usually in the request.params. So when you take it, the next thing I want to do is to find that particular blog that has that ID. And wait, go to the blogs model dot find by ID. Find by ID. So I copy the ID and I'll paste it inside here. When you find it, I want you to return a response with a status of 200 and a JSON message. Let the message say successful. And then return the blog. So try catch here is going to first try to get the ID from the request.params. That's the first line. If it's successful, it will move to the second line. If it is not successful, it will catch what the error was and then console log the error here. But if it was successful, it will move to the second line, try to find that blog with the ID. Now, if it is successful, it will move to the second line. If it is not successful, it will catch what the error was and console log the error. Then, if it was successful, it will move to the last line to return a response. If it's successful, then the response will be sent. But if it is not successful, it will catch the error and console log what the error was. So this is a typical example of try-catch. A try-catch is simply used to handle cases where you know that there might be error, but you don't want your server to crash. I will demo that for you. I will remove try-catch here. I'm deliberately making an error now. I'll remove try-catch. Try-catch is not there. Then I will create, first of all, export this. Get one blog. It has to be exported. Export it. And then come here to create a get request. App.get. And passing the endpoint should be, what do I call it? Get blog. Call it anything. And the function should be get one blog, like this. Now, the error I'm making is that I'm not passing in ID. So I want to tell you what the error is. I'm not passing in ID. Now, my server is running, is not crashing. So, but I actually made an error because I know that the function is expecting me to pass in ID in the params. But when I was defining the endpoint, I'm not adding ID like I did here. So I'm not adding ID. Now let's see what happens. I'll copy this and make a get request. I think that's a get request. Let me confirm. Yeah, this is a get request. Keep it to be get request. Go to localhost and put it here, get blog. So I will send this request and actually returned no. My server is actually handling it. Why? It's not supposed to handle it. It's returning null. So what I'll do is this. I will make another mistake. This might crash on your own system, but I don't know. So I'll make another mistake. Pass in the ID. Let's say we are expecting ID on the back end, but we don't pass in ID and we send. Now this server has crashed here, but this server is not crashing here. So what I'll do again is make another error. Pass in a random ID and send. Now the server has actually crashed. What it means by server crashing is, imagine if you built an application that is being used by so many users and one user somewhere decide not to send the correct ID, which is what I did now. Somebody decide to be very stubborn and send an ID that is not correct, and your server crash. Then other users elsewhere will start complaining your app is not working, your app is not working. And you'll be wondering, what happened to my server? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happened to your server. Somebody somewhere sent an ID that is actually not correct. So, but if I have a try catch, let me go back to having, you know what? Sorry, I wanted to do Control Z. That Control Z actually removed this one. So let me add that try catch again. Try catch and console log the error CLG error here, and then copy all of this and put it inside the try block, which is here. Then remove these spaces. So this is my function with a try catch. This is with a try catch. I'll save it and see that my server is running. My server is running. MongoDB is connected. But I'm still going to use this wrong ID and I'll send it. Now you see that my server is not crashing. Rather, my server is hanging for this user. Not that my general server is hanging, and it's console logging the error here. Let me see what the error message is. It says cast to object ID failed for value of this. it has to be a type of string at the path underscore ID for models. So it means we are sending the wrong ID, but my server is not crashing. And you can confirm that by making a GET request here, and you still get your whatever you're getting here. You can still add to your server, and the server is still adding and running. But for this particular user that is making this GET request with the wrong ID, their server is hanging. And that is what a try catch does for you. Now, it will try to do anything the user wants, but if at any point it encounters an error, it will catch the error. Instead of the server crashing, it will console log the error. That is what a try catch is. Any question on that? Any question on that? Can we return an error message on the catch block? Yes, you can do that. So instead of this console log, you can return a response. Return response dot status. Now here you add the status of 500 because it's a server error, and JSON, and this is JSON, and the message this time will be error dot message. So now you're not returning the whole error, but you're only returning the message to the user. So if I save this, now we're returning a response with a status of 500, a JSON, and the message is the error message. So if I come back here, my server is running, I send this user sends a response again, you see it returns a message, cast to object paid for value of this at part of ID. So the server will not crash. Rather, for this user, you get a response that you are actually sending the wrong thing. Now, you can customize your message if you want, but most times we actually don't know what the error will be. The error might not be the ID, the error might be something else. So, but if you use try catch, the catch block will catch whatever the error is and either console log the error for you to debug or actually send back a response for whatever the error is, like that. So here you can return a response with an error message. That is a try catch. So do we have any other question? We've been able to add to database, get all items on the database, update one item on the database, delete one item on the database, and now we are getting one item from the database, which is actually 5 things we have talked about. You are getting an error. Are you working with your system so you can screen? You can actually. I don't know if you are allowed to share your screen. Would have loved to see your screen so that we know what the error is. But just first things first, I don't know if it's possible to share a screen, but I would like to see your code, the function that is handling the request, the endpoint, and your Postman payload. Command insert not found correlation this connection.send. So it means that MongoDB is connected, but the post where this error is coming from your assignment drive one, the name of the file is 5th connection.js. Sorry, I want to figure out the exact part. Show us your post function, the function that is handling this post request. Okay, this is the first one. This is the function. Here you have your schema, Mongoose schema require Mongoose, and I'm very sure you installed Mongoose the product schema and the product schema module that exports model and type string required true. And I want to see, let's see what is on Postman. This is a function correct. If not, const new product, brand, price, new product, weight, and where is it coming from? Price, all field, product model. Now, did you import this as product model? Let me see. After you exported this, did you import product model? Error is coming from your drive. I think this through Mongo server error. Mongo server error command insert not found. So it means it is trying to insert something but did not find where to insert it into. Product model, require model. So this is imported. If this is okay, 9 is also fine. Okay, this is raw JSON and you send. So the first thing I want you to do is this, where you are actually in this function here. I want to see a console log. Write a console log under here, console logging these items. So what I mean is this, in the post request, just write a console log here, CLG, and console log these items. Console log them like this. Let me see that they are actually entering into this endpoint, and then we know what next is. Now, if you console log this, I want it at this part, console log the new product for you, but mine is new blog. Console log the new blog object that was created before saving. So let's see that you're actually getting into the backend, you're creating the new object, and before saving, console log that. So while we're waiting for that, does any other person have a question? You can drop your questions so far. Is there any way to retrieve? Now, except you backed up your database somewhere, meaning when data is created on this part, some servers give you the privilege to back up data. So when data is created after 2 days or after 3 days or maybe after every hour, any data that's in that database will be backed up. So when the data is actually deleted from the database, the backup will still be there. So that is the case I know of. But there could be other solutions that you can export your database at any point. But if you delete data from the database and you did not export your data, you did not back up your data, there is no other way to get it. Okay, so you're actually getting the ID and the response. Now the issue is trying to insert. So what function do you use again to what? This, I want to believe this is a different function, not the function I want to see. Await new product data dot save. So this means that the connection string is wrong. So if you can actually get the connection string again, make sure that the URL has your correct username and your password, or copy a new connection string. So that it means that the connection string. Now also make sure that the IP address is set to connect from anywhere, because it's trying to insert but cannot insert into it. So it means that either the ID and the password does not have the privilege to actually insert, or the ID and password, one of them is wrong. So if you can share your connection string, does any other person have a question? Just share your connection string so that I can see that. If it's possible to copy another connection string and do that, I'll make sure that the connection string, the ID and the password are the only things here before the @ no other thing is in between. Just from here to here you have your username and your password. That's all. Yes, you will get the recording. And again, let me confirm that I know I recorded this class, because if I did not, there'll be a problem by this time. Yeah, it's recorded. So check to share your connection string. I'm waiting for that. Does anybody have, are you saying that all of you understand everything I just did now? You understand everything I did now? Yeah, this is the connection string. Copy it. I want to see, what I want to see is where you are adding the ID and the password. That is, if you created a user, the part that is in your code, I want to see it in your code. Copy it and put it in your code. I want to see it here in your .env, like this, where you have the ID, the username and the password. In here we have Atlas SQL. Okay. This connection string, this is my first time seeing this MongoDB Atlas, and I don't know why you are seeing it. Let me go to MongoDB again. MongoDB Atlas, is there anywhere I will see SQL? Anywhere I will see SQL? MongoDB. I'm not seeing what I would recognize. So I have this. If I click on database and click on connect, now I don't know why you have this. So what other version will be there? I'm actually using the latest version and I have this. So how come you are going to a different URL that is not this type of URL? View sample code, and we're not using anything like that. So I'm trying to understand why your own URL is actually different. Trying to understand. Let me come back here again. What is this? Is cluster connected, cluster UID. Oh, sorry. I think, okay. Yes, this is it. You click on connect. This is it. And here, okay. What I'll do is I'll send you my own connection string. Try running that request. Let me see if it is actually being saved on my database. So I will copy this and I'll send it to you. Switch with your own URL and let's see if you save. Now once you make a request and it's successful, let me know so that let me check. I will see if I can find that data on my database. So make this request and see if I have it on my own database. Now, your own URL doesn't look familiar to me, and I don't know why. Any question? Your network is not stable. Okay, I'm sorry about that. And we have a recording. I tried as much as possible not to make this recording very long, but it is still up to 1 hour 30 minutes. Apologies. Okay, you know what? I didn't actually see that. Now you can have quotes in it, but not here. I think remove the quotes, but normally I would add a quote here, but it's not quoted. Sometimes you need a quote, sometimes you don't, and that's because for here I'm actually configuring here. So sometimes you need the quote, sometimes you don't, but remove the URL quotes. All right, it's actually not tough. This is one step at a time, and I know that I'm taking it very slow, but if I am fast at any point, please tell me so that I can slow down. It will be better that we don't actually finish the curriculum, but you understand everything that was taught, that I finished the whole curriculum and you don't understand any part of it at all. So if I'm very fast, you let me know so I can slow down. And also, yeah, the video will be available also. So we're waiting for you, course rep. Try my URL if it works for you, or maybe remove the quotes. Now, but that quote sometimes is not an error. And I think that's because I'm using this MongoDB here in my main file. If I was using it somewhere else, I'll be adding the quotes. But try two of them. Remove quotes, use mine. Let's see what happens. Any questions before we end the class? Any question? So apart from Uchenna, who said his network was bad, are you saying every other person understood or understands everything we've talked about today? A different kind of request and connecting to a database. The same error with my own? Are you serious? Okay, so if it is the same error, first I will need you to come to your schema, remove the required true, remove it. Where is that your schema? Let me be looking at the schema here. Remove all the truths, remove them, and then yeah, these are cap locks. This is an object, export model, mongoose model, then the product schema. So remove the true, and this is brand name, color, price. Okay. All right, I will push the code right now to GitHub. Yeah, I will. So I actually want to confirm where this error is coming from. So if the schema is corrected, this is the function to add async you're using await request response, get them equal to request body new product. Everything here is perfect, so I don't know why it should be failing. Everything is perfect. Remove the required true. Let's see what happens. But are you serious? I would have said push your code to GitHub so that I can have, you know what? There's somewhere you have an error. Push your code to GitHub so that I'll see it and I'll know what is actually wrong. So, but for now, let me push mine to GitHub. And I said I would delete these old things, but I always forget to delete them back and to, all right, and create this. Sorry about the network, sorry about that. Create an existing file, come back here, inside backend, this. No, that's not all. This. All right, that's it. And commit changes. So I think I will end this. Well, let's not. And let me see what's wrong with our code. I'll copy this URL. This is the code base. All right. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, but I want to see the code. I would like to see the code so I know where exactly it's coming from. It's possible that the data type can be duplicate key. And if you have this duplicate key means it you've added one already. The second one you're adding has a type of key that's not allowed, or maybe the other one you added doesn't have a key from the one you are adding. Invalid data type, which is why I said remove all the required true, the schema validation, yeah, the required true, and connection string actually make the collection to make sure you're getting the one that is existing. Just send the code on GitHub. Let's see. We still have we don't have much time, but just send it. I can review it and see what is wrong. So I have this here. Now this week's assignment, I don't know what it will be, but this is what I want you to do. If you are currently in the class, drop a number, or you know what, should I drop a number, or drop a number between 1 and should I go with 5? Should I go with 5 or 4? 5 or 4? 5 or 4? Drop a number between 1 and 4. Pick any number between 1 and 4. If you are currently in the class, drop a number between 1 and 4. Now, 1 means you answer question 1. 2 means you answer question 2. And 3 means you answer question 3. So what I want to do is get your schema and use it. So let's see. I want to verify this is a post schema. Actually, I don't have the time. I would have new file product.js v, and I have this mongoose requires string product model, exporting product model, and these names are supposed, well, sometimes it doesn't really matter. Okay, come back. Next is I have a schema. I have this is your controller function. Copy this, come to my functions and insert this here. I have a product function, there's this, I copy this and export it there. Save. So in your index.js, you have a route for that. The route is this. Now, okay. So what I can do is come to my index and insert that route. So make sure that I'm exporting this function without controller and save. So I have that. Now in the function is expecting these items, and these items you put them all as strings. So come back to postman and make a post request. Post request, the body has to be raw data and JSON, and put this here. You better not work. I want to see what the error is. You better not work. So the first product can be, you know what? I put Maggie here. I put, what is it, BRC here. Put red here. And the price is 500. And send. Sorry. Oh, I forgot the URL. Localhost. And the endpoint has to be post. Okay. As a post request, post. V and send. Now my server is crashing. Yeah, as expected. I want to see why. It says price here. Product model. Sorry, I did not import it. Sorry. Where is the product model in my function? Const product model is equal to require dot slash model forward slash product. Yeah, product model. Is my function running? Yeah, it's running. Send this request again. Now it's crashing because product is not defined. Product, I hope you're following what I am doing. Product is not defined, and that's because this is product and you are sending new product. So this is one error here. What I can do is copy this and say that product should be new product data. So this data is actually saving, but the product is not found. So this is where the error is. This is the error. You are saving it as new product data, but you are sending only product. Yeah, so you commented this out and you are sending this. So I'll try again. My server is running and this is postman, send, and I'm getting products. So nothing is wrong with your code. The only thing I saw as an error is this. So try to see what you have here and make sure you're sending back this information. So here I have console log is being console logged, and new product that save data. I didn't do much. I just copied and pasted your informations. I didn't change anything here apart from the required removed. And here in the function, I didn't do much. I just copied and pasted. And here I had to import the product model. Imported the product model as this. Product model is equal to require model / product. And in my function, I create a post request. I just copied and paste, use the only name, and I exported it the way I normally export, with having product exporting everything as an object. So just check to see what is wrong. Mine is actually working. It's either from MongoDB or Postman. And if it's going to be from MongoDB, now if you use my URL and you are having the same error, then it's not from MongoDB. Now from Postman, it can only be from Postman if the request, now once you are seeing this console log, if you are seeing this console log, then it is not from Postman, because this console log is found here. I think here, it's found here. So it means at this point, it is no longer with Postman. Now, if you do it with my own MongoDB and you are getting that error, now make sure that you have, make sure, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. I've forgotten it. Yeah, MongoDB is connected. So if you use my URL and you have the same error, then it's not from MongoDB. Now, if you're seeing this console log, then it's not from Postman, because you actually see the console log. Now, the error I found was this, the products. This product has been sent back. Now, on this part, I didn't change anything here. What I did was to import the model, which of course, if you are seeing this function, it means you imported the model very well. So the only error I saw was this one, where you are exporting this name product, but product is not found here. So I had to put product to be this new product. That was all I did. So guys, in the absence of any question, okay, let's wait for Kosrab. She has a question. Really? Why would you be having the same errors? Okay, what I'll do is I'll send you my own code now, so you get to look at it, because mine is running. Where will I add that? So I'll come to, I can't add it here. Let me just create another one. So use mine is running, but you will not, yeah, you have my URL. So backend 3. So create this, send. Now close this, and these are the files. So if you run mine and you are still having the errors, then we'll not blame Postman, we'll not blame anything, we'll blame you, because it's like your hands are not too good with the system. The system does not like you. And sometimes it happens. You see that you'll be touching the system, but the system is not responding. But when somebody else touches the system, that same system will respond. So I have this. Try mine. Mine is running. If it doesn't work on your system, my .env. Now I'll copy everything. I have given you my .env file. but I'll just copy everything inside it again and send to you. There's nothing in it, just my URL and my port. So I'll copy everything in it and send to you here. This is everything inside my .env. That's all. So what else? I don't think that. Make sure you are, for you to connect to MongoDB, you already installed Mongoose. So there's no point asking. You just check mine and cross-check one of them. So guys, in the absence of any, okay, she has a question, go ahead. All right. So in the absence of any question, we're not posting numbers, we're just sharing information. So in the absence of any questions, the number is, I just say pick any number from 1 to 4. 1 means you answer question 1, 2 means you answer question 2, 3 means you answer question 3, and 4 means you answer question 4. Please try to remember your number so that you do not answer a question for another number. When you see the questions, answer the question by the one you picked, because that is how I will record for you. You pick number 1, you answer number 1. So that is why we are dropping 1. So in the absence of any question, drop it thumbs up so that we can end the class. In the absence of any question, drop a thumbs up so that we can end the class. Thank you. All right, see you guys again by next weekend. Bye.